Should I get a pen? I'll grab some of that tab paper.
From Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9, from the City Hall Council Chambers, it's time once again for the Taxpayers Hotline Show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host.
And the winner is for Best Co-Host.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Who are the nominees? That's the question.
John.
DJ?
But DJ's in absentia.
Oh, is he?
He gets one of those Lifetime Achievement Awards.
Oh, does he? Well, I was watching that last night, and the movie that won it.
Yeah.
I did see. I don't usually see, but
the only one I didn't see.
And trust me, you didn't miss anything.
I saw Billboards the other day.
I thought it was terrible.
I saw Billboards the other day.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it's a good movie.
I thought The Shape of Water was one of the stupidest movies I've ever seen in my life.
What?
The fish was this girl falls in love with this fish guy. Okay, I get it.
Was that the Creature of the Black Lagoon?
It looked like him, and then the next thing you know, this fish guy is like ballroom dancing, and she's in love. She can't talk, but the acting was good, but it was like Splash.
Well,
remember the movie Splash with Tom Hanks and Daryl Hannah?
1958, I saw a movie called The Creature of the Black Lagoon.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah, well, I think it's just a remake, but then again, I remember when I was younger, and you had to see these classic movies like Chariots of Fire.
Yeah.
Never was I more bored.
Yeah.
And I'm going, what happened to movies that people like?
We were sitting in the theater and people are like, what is going on? I mean, it was, and when that movie won, I lost all faith in these judges who are the Motion Picture Academy. I
could see The Darkest Hour. I could see Hostiles.
Yeah.
I could see
Dunkirk.
Billboards.
Yeah, I mean, but for the fish movie, it was, Kaz, I'm telling you.
So you tell me I should go down to the dock and get a carp and
we'll
talk to him?
You could go watch it down there. I mean, it was terrible.
Should we talk to a carp down to the dock?
You should. I mean, pull the carp out of the water, give it some eggs, and start dancing with it. Well, I mean, the woman fills her bathroom up with water and hangs out with this fish. She's having an affair with a fish. And then the next, it's absolutely insane.
You're going to get calls now because you screwed up the movie.
I know people are.
Here's my good friend John Steiner, and this is Kaz Kwiatkowski, City Councilman, and we have a guest.
We do.
Not in the audience at least, but.
Yeah. Well, that's good. It's good to have different people come in and.
Yeah, we have Sean Lynch from.
Is that DJ?
It can't be.
No way. I think that's DJ.
Oh.
Just walking in the door. And look.
The Colorado Kid.
I think he might be back. Is his phone working? It's working. Give us a call. A lot of things going on. I heard in the paper today there was an article about the land bank proposal. A lot of other things going on, too.
Well, hold your thoughts there.
Yeah.
Go ahead, caller. Hello?
Go ahead.
Hello? Oop.
Well, that didn't go too good. It is DJ. I thought that.
Is that the Colorado Kid?
It is.
You look like you're going walkabout with that hat.
I am on a walkabout.
Looks like a cross between, what's that guy? Crocodile Dundee and the Deer Hunter.
He looks like he just went fishing. Have you been fishing?
No.
Why didn't you tell us you were in town?
I wanted it to be a surprise.
Oh, it is definitely. The only thing that would surprise us most is if he'd come dressed like that shark and we could talk about the Shape of Water again.
Oh, The Shape of Water. That was...
Get up here, DJ. Come on.
All right, I'll be there.
Oh, Mike.
I swear, when he walked in, I'm like, oh, my God, that looks like DJ.
I'm guessing either the mine ran out or he got kicked out of Colorado. What's your bet?
Kaz, whenever I look at this screen, it looks like I'm getting balder every episode.
No, you're not. You're okay.
Am I okay? Because I think it's this show. Every time I come here, I lose
You need to take a little soil outside.
Where I can't find, it's all covered right now.
Well, yeah, but rub a little potting soil in your hair.
Is that what it is?
And then water it, and, dirt makes things grow, right?
But then I get water on it, yeah. I definitely need some dirt on there.
DJ, I did that to DJ, and, he's got a full...
What are you
hiding your hair for?
He spray paints his hair on.
No, I have to. There's a big...
He bought that stuff they sold in the 60s.
Yep.
Rogaine?
Where it was like,
the spray can hair.
You could peel it off.
Yeah.
I remember the spray can hair.
Plastic hair to go.
Like the guy from Goodfellas, that's the guy that sells the hair, and they smack him around and his hair falls off his head. That's DJ.
Something feels different. What's going on? It
We
feels
got
like
a new
whole
screen,
new.
DJ.
What? Oh, you got a projector?
Yeah, we can do presentations to the audience now.
Cool.
That new sound system.
It feels like there's a whole new political air about, almost as if there's a new mayor in office.
A lot has happened since.
Well, you've been gone for a while.
I've been gone since December, yeah.
Well, yeah, we got a new mayor. We got some teamwork going on here.
I've been watching the meetings. I see that he comes to the meetings.
Yeah,
on
your
Wednesdays.
acerbic tongue on the internet has been a great manifestation of your wisdom.
I'll always text John something sarcastic just to try to...
During the middle of the show, DJ's cracking jokes and sending me
wow, what's
pictures.
going on?
I can't really share.
I'm thinking about
No.
putting together a set of... I'm going to get Mike to put us together some of our best shows.
There you go.
That would be good. There's a lot of them. I don't know
We're
if
gonna
there's
put
any
them out there
best
for,
of.
We need some bloopers too. Get some bloopers and some.
You still got to have him dig out the archived archives.
I am looking for one when the late Mario Bagnoni was here.
Yes.
And he had a gentleman named Randy Brewer on.
Yeah, I
Now,
mean,
that was a classic. You talk about the shows with the conservative versus the liberal. And those two got along like peanut butter and jelly, right? No, they were good.
Yeah.
One was a Republican chairman, party guy, and he came in one day dressed as one of our ex-mayors. Female. I won't tell you which one that was. I'm not allowed to say.
Not like we had a plethora of them.
Yeah.
But they couldn't get the mayor to come out, to talk on Mario's show. So Randy filled in. It was like classic entertainment. But
Wasn't there baby mama drama between all them guys
Baby
back then?
mama.
it was better than that show they had on Cat TV
Oh,
with
yeah?
the guys in the back with the clown.
Oh, the alley. Yeah, I still got copies of that. I should give you that too. Let you guys air that on the City Channel.
Oh my!
You know what? I hate to say it, but I do remember. I know what you're talking about.
Al and Lee, one had a fake nose and glasses, and the other one dressed up as a clown.
He's a DJ. I should make him the traffic. He sent me some stuff about traffic.
Yeah,
Traffic circles.
My God, if I put that in Erie,
yeah.
I can tell you the only people that would benefit would probably be the helicopter, medevac, whatever they call it, and the ambulances, because he sent me this multifaceted. I call it a roundabout. It's giving it credit.
It's called a diamond,
Oh my God!
an inverse diamond or something. People are going
Don't send that to
cross
PennDOT.
lanes, and no, it ain't gonna happen.
They might get serious.
They don't even want to talk to some of us anymore.
Who?
PennDOT. They have an attitude problem with some of
But
us.
they are in their own little world.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like I was sitting in a meeting and they go, if you come from Erie, I mean, ask me to bring up about the Bayfront.
Bayfront.
Go ahead, caller.
Can't wait.
How you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Well, not a DJ. So I heard there's a paper with a picture on it, like in black and white,
Yeah.
and like they used to have on Matt Dillon. I think he got in trouble in Colorado. Either that or the mine ran out. I don't know.
I don't know. It's tell them to stay away from Arvada. I have relatives down there.
Uh-oh. So what's up there?
Hey, how much money does this council put aside for repair of lawns and driveways that plows and garbage trucks create?
Well, that's kind of mixed in, I think, in either our general government or the solicitor's office for claims about why. What, you have a couple?
Did you get my picture?
I haven't read my email in the last couple of days.
Oh, yeah, well,
I saw it in there, but I've been busy this weekend.
I had to wait probably 12 hours before the snowplows came through because there was a big garbage truck crosswise 42nd and actually about 41st and a half.
What, did he get stuck?
He was stuck, and I didn't know it took 8 men to figure out how to do this.
Did he slide, John?
Pardon?
Did he slide?
He didn't know how he was driving.
Oh.
I mean, in their defense, that was crazy. That weather situation that we had to deal with that night. I mean, that was out of control. The amount of snow we got.
This wasn't at night. This was during the afternoon, like 8:30, 9:30 in the morning.
The day after?
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, you got to put a claim in, and they'll look at it and judge the merits of
It
it.
seems like the side streets, they don't get any love anymore.
Well, I'll tell you what, they got the one side street on 41st Street. They ripped the whole lawn, probably 150, 160 yards, like about 18, 19 inches into the property all the way over.
Since we're self-insured, John, we got to find, we have to pay, we got fund accounts and stuff, but they usually judge it on the merit of how it happened. And
if you go across 38th Street,
I don't know, I've got a lot of pictures of it, how it happened.
the boulevards on 38th Street, in
Look
front
on
of
your
people,
camera, you'll see it.
okay,
I don't see anybody smiling down there. 10 minutes has gone by and no smiles or waves or whatever.
we've been cracking jokes about the movies.
Well, I think I had to crack a joke about the 5th floor.
They had a movie about you.
Where was I?
Well, you were talking to a piece of bacala in a movie.
I don't know. It looks like there's a lot of bacalas down in Florida this year, too. There's a team down there. Last time I looked, their record was 9-1.
In Florida?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Spring training.
Who do? You're not talking about what I think you're talking about.
What's that? The new Booney?
You're not talking about those guys that...
Pinstripes?
Yeah.
The guys with class?
Class?
Sure, they all got class.
They used to buy the pennant. They can't do that anymore.
I think they lost yesterday.
Did they lose? What are they, 9-2 now?
I don't know, but I know they lost yesterday.
Well, you got to lose a couple. You can't go 162-0.
You were the kid in our neighborhood that we would take around the corner.
Yeah.
And we teach them respect about the other teams that don't like the Yankees.
Oh yeah, there weren't too many in my block.
Well, no, you were down I think you were down where I used to live.
He's a Lower East Side guy.
I told those guys that you used to hang around with, and due respect to them, and I still know a lot of them, like Ronnie and all of them.
Well, the guys I used to hang around were the Bolitnikovs.
Yeah, but I told them, I said, look, Joe DiMaggio has been dead for a long time.
Oh,
He's
yeah?
at room temperature, and so is Phil Rizzuto and the rest of them, okay?
Well, Joe DiMaggio wasn't as good as his brother Mike.
Or Vince or Dom?
Yeah. I mean, he had talent, but those guys really had more talent. I was talking to Bob Feller one time. He told me that overseas they had the best baseball team during the war than anywhere else.
Well, I could believe that.
And Bob, he was, I won't say it, but he was a heck of a...
During Vietnam, when you were stateside during Vietnam, they had more guys that were playing on the
Sandlots over there.
No, the fort level teams that back here.
Oh yeah.
They were playing like they were doing their duty, and the military would. Because I had a friend in the barracks with me that was a Los Angeles Dodger prospect, not real serious, but they were going to sign him to a minor league contract. He tried like heck to get on the post team at Fort Lee.
Couldn't cut it, huh?
No, he said, yeah, feel free to. And they look and they go, we got 6 guys from AAA and 2 guys from the majors that are down in summer camp with the National Guard or something. And he goes, you ain't going to make it.
Like Tim Tebow, he's going to go play for the Mets.
He'll never make the big league.
Here, wait, I feel it coming on. I see September, John, and October.
Yeah.
September call-up.
I see a warrior on a horse. I see him riding down the trail, and I see him chasing a man in pinstripes.
Oh, yeah?
You don't see Chief Wahoo anymore, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, it's Wahoo. He's coming.
Wahoo's out of there.
I thought it was a Florida State guy.
And then I see a blue jay flying overhead, doing what birds do on that pinstripe. It doesn't look good for you in September, John.
Oh, yeah? How about Carmack? You look like you're Carmack, or should I say Tarmac the Magician. Remember him, don't you?
Johnny Carson.
Or you can watch Colbert with the big furry hat now.
We'll let somebody else get in. Take a look at that picture and give me a call.
I will, but say hello to DJ before...
I said hello to DJ. DJ?
Before Matt Dillon comes looking for him or
I gotta
something.
go. I gotta get out of
I'm
here.
going to look for DJ.
I got
He's gonna
stuff to
be
talk about.
With, what are those boys?
Doc Holliday and the Wyatt Earp.
There you go, the Wyatt Earp gang. Have a great day, you guys.
Take care.
I got stuff to say.
Go ahead.
I got a plan. I know how to solve your viaduct problem. And I know how much you guys love talking about the viaduct lately. I've been watching the meetings. Turn it into a tourist attraction.
What are we going to do with it?
You're going to paint it rainbow colored. And you're going to call it the Rainbow Bridge. Because the Rainbow Bridge is the bridge that the animals go to. People say when their animals die, they wait for them on the Rainbow Bridge. We're going to have the actual Rainbow Bridge. And people will pay to come, and we're going to have a guy come across the bridge and take their pet and walk it
Is
across the
Colorado, is it legal? I'm talking to your friend there. Is it legal to,
Are you blazing?
that weed that they got that they used to make rope out of?
Go pee in this cup, sir.
bridge. Sure. Here, with your,
You're like PennDOT. We sat at a meeting now. You'll love this.
I got to hear
They
this.
go, we didn't know this, but that Bayfront Highway is very successful. Whoa, wait a minute. Let me get this straight. You build a road with very few lights on it, and we put more, but still very few lights compared to other streets.
Yeah.
Okay? You can drive at a pretty steady clip and get from one side of town to the other. You call it a highway, but it's a parkway. Even though you put Benny Dombrowski Highway and Capabianca Highway on there, you kind of fake people into thinking it's a highway.
Yeah.
And then you're surprised that people take it home at the end of the day.
They
okay?
use it.
Yeah. So PennDOT says, we need to make 12th Street viable again and have people use 12th Street. So hold your thought. Go ahead, caller.
Hi, about the bridge. I'm calling about the bridge.
Yes. Go ahead.
There are plenty of companies and businesses and people that would volunteer to clean up the bridge, fix it up, make it look nice.
Well, fixing it up is the bone of contention. They had an engineer that actually worked for the group that consulted them their own engineer said that's not true.
So,
That's their engineer, not the one that they accused the city and the state of hiring. And he's in agreement that it needs more than a touch-up. And that's where the argument lies. Is
the bridge is not the question. It's the building next to it. That's what you should tear down, that raggedy building next to it.
well, the city, I think, is afraid to tear the building down because we'll be responsible for it long term. And they have pushed the guy to fix it.
Yeah.
But, if we take it over, which we can, it's our baby now.
If you eminent,
Yeah.
it's really hard.
It's going to be on the taxpayer's dime to tear that down.
It's really hard to eminent domain.
Well, you can, but here's the problem. That guy don't have any money now, apparently.
Right.
So you're going to tear the building down. Now you got no money. And we don't have enough money to cut trees in the city.
Yeah.
We just talked about the other day that, just to remove trees that are bad in houses,
On the bridge,
yes.
rent it out to vendors. Anything. There's money to be made of it. We can't go by one person say so.
Well, who's the one person?
Else to look at the bridge and see what's up. Maybe he'll come up with a different answer.
Well, who's the one person, ma'am?
The guy that you had to come and tell you the bridge was no good?
No, we didn't. That was PennDOT. PennDOT and the city hired a series of engineers to look at and make decisions. The decision was made long before I was on council that that the bridge was not worth fixing. And so they decided that because it was redundant with the bridge next to it, they decided that the best course long term was to tear it down.
That was decided 7 years ago.
7 years ago, yes.
Old and Erie, they want to tear it down. They don't want to restore anything. It's letting the Erie Insurance tear down all those old, beautiful homes.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that Erie is disappearing.
Well, actually, the other day, No, your insurance has renovated some
Our
houses.
insurance has renovated a
They
lot.
have rented a few. They did a couple along Parade Street.
Also knocked down a lot of them.
On 6th Street.
Yes, they did.
Some of them you can't. Some of them were so old that you just.
Unfortunately, like I've talked to people that want to rehab houses, and some of them have said that they would do it, but the houses are too far shot to make it feasible for them. We would basically have to give them the houses for free and give them tax-free for quite a while for them to recover their investment.
And then they would have to try to.
And this is not Erie.
For historical grants and stuff like that, which is a process.
It would cost way more to fix it up because you're dealing with asbestos, you're dealing with lead pipes, you're dealing with crumbling foundations. It would cost less to build a new home.
But I agree with the caller. The more we preserve history, a lot of towns.
Which is why council has passed a rule, and it's presently going to be. Are you there, ma'am?
I'm still here.
We have passed an ordinance. It hasn't been voted on yet. It's being fine-tuned in the solicitor's office. And this solicitor, by the way, did come to us and tell us, let us see a copy of it, and we're fine-tuning the language. This will say that if a house is deemed to be historically relevant, meaning no matter where it's located in the city, they cannot tear it down for a period of 30 or 60 days until we have a cooling off period to determine whether somebody would like to renovate it or buy it. So we are going to do that because when I was a kid, I can remember they tore down the Shays, they tore down all these buildings downtown. They went out into the neighborhoods, tore down old housing that was historically relevant. So we are going to pass an ordinance to protect things. Unfortunately for the bridge, it was allowed to deteriorate too long. And there's disagreement as to whether a temporary fix or a permanent fix is economically feasible for that.
Wasn't the group trying to raise money?
Tear the building down. So either way.
Yeah.
Well, that factory, we're going to have to do something with it eventually.
I'm going to have to tear that down too.
Yeah, probably, and that brings up who's going to pay for it. That's going to be the problem.
First thing you got to do is pay for the attorneys to fight for the eminent domain.
Just to tell you that in that factory they have some people working right now, and that's why they've been hesitant to kind of push the guy too hard because there are people working in there right now, unbelievably.
The roof off of it?
And the part in the back where it's covered. Part of the building is covered, but not all of it.
Well, it's an ugly sight when you're coming off the bayfront.
Absolutely. I have called it the Dresden War Museum.
For people that come into our city to see that building, I get sick every time I drove.
Welcome to Erie. Drive in on our beautiful bayfront.
Yeah.
But don't look over here.
Yeah,
This is why I like what the sisters are doing. They're taking over the east side.
Yeah.
And I like what Erie Insurance did along with other businesses downtown. They put their own money in a pot of, which is what it's going to take. We're going to have to get people willing to buy that building, maybe, and come up with a plan.
Say someone owns it now.
Pardon?
Say someone owns it now.
Yeah, they're in contact with. In fact, this goes back to when Jim Thompson and I were doing the show, and Jimmy was a councilman and I was a controller. We yelled and yelled and yelled over and over, and they would go up there every so often. They put another piece of the roof on. But they've never solved the problem entirely, so this is an ongoing issue. It
was in the newspaper, I think, a year or two ago that they were in court over and over again. So
he's been ordered by the district justice down there.
So it's not like the problem is being totally ignored. It's just that there's only so much you can do as far as eminent domain.
In Pennsylvania, they're very, like when a certain mayoral candidate spouted he was going to tear down 1,000 houses. First of all, you can't do it that fast in Pennsylvania. The laws are because we're a commonwealth, not a state, our laws are different. We are very protective of property rights.
What about the fact that they own multiple properties? Can you do something and put some sort of a lien on their other property that they seem to be taking?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how much property the gentleman has, but he's been ordered by the district court that he was going to go to jail.
Yeah.
You haven't seen that.
It was my house. You would have been out here trying to make me do it.
You're probably right, and we do have a double standard, apparently.
All of us, the taxpayers, if it was one of our homes in a mess like that, you would have been taking care of it, made us do it. Make him do it. It's ugly.
Yeah, we agree.
Well, we have a new mayor now and a new train of thought. So we'll see whether how he directs our people to take care of that problem.
Yeah.
They're well aware of it. I don't even have to tell them about it because it's been in the paper. It's in our people in that department have talked about it.
It gives our whole community a bad look, and that whole area over there, with the bridge and everything like that. I mean, I drove that bridge every day pretty much.
To me, I don't think, and I'm not an engineer and I'm not an architect. Mm-hmm. I look at that building. I don't know if they could do anything with it. I really don't.
No, the frame.
It's
all it is a frame with no roof.
Well, I mean, it's got limited use now.
Yeah.
Other towns have done stuff with that.
Yeah.
They have made
hotels.
They have made things in there,
parking garages.
Yeah.
They've changed the use of the building, but that building is
now,
so bad.
One of the problems you have with a factory, which we had with the GF site, is you have contaminants in the ground.
Oh, right.
And that puts up issues of what you can do.
And you could never put anything positive in it because that's all industrial area where you have the
which is why it can end up as a public park.
If the bridge was located in a different location too, other than in that particular, with that infrastructure around it, I mean that might make a difference.
Well, what sealed the fate of the bridge was when they built the highway. Mm-hmm. It's redundant, so now I'm in favor of actually building a bridge somewhere between Downing Avenue and McBride. I think there's a better use for a bridge because there's a no man's land that exists there that you cannot cross the east side between Downing and probably McBride.
Well, hell, if
it takes a long, you have to drive a long ways.
If you're going to build a bridge over Downing, you might as well fix the bridge we have. It's a quandary over there.
But I mean,
but it's just a matter of time before the Franklin Avenue Bridge starts falling over.
I have brought that up to him.
And we got to pay to fix it.
You're still there, right, ma'am? Oops.
Yeah, but the infrastructure of that bridge is just shot. I walked it last year. There's huge holes in it, and those holes go down into the concrete, and you can see the metal.
Well,
the metal is rusting.
I mean, if the city, let's say we did make it a pedestrian thing, is the city responsible for insurance and everything on that, or what are the rules?
This was the argument, and this was put by PennDOT. So everybody understands, PennDOT and the federal government are paying 95% of the costs. It's roughly 80% Fed, 15% Commonwealth, 5% the city. To put it bluntly, that means every dollar that's spent, 5 cents is ours, 95 is not ours. Mm-hmm. Well, you are because you're taxpayers, but it's not directly out of our coffers. So the bids that are presently out there are only good for about 60 days. We got a good bid because the company that's going to tear it down is up here doing work. They won't be in 60 days.
Yeah. Has the contract been signed?
Yes, it has.
So when are they announcing the demolition will begin?
I think they're working with that company because that company's up here doing another job. Uh-huh. So they're going to basically shift their equipment over.
Right.
Now, the money do we save because they budgeted 1.2, 1.3. The balance of that money is going to be used for other related areas around the bridge. Okay? That's why, but hold that thought and we'll get back to it. Go ahead, caller.
Is that company from Erie?
No, unfortunately we can't make them be from Erie, but the bids went out to everybody and Erie companies were encouraged to bid. It has to be an open bid process, so yes, companies from Erie were allowed to bid.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like we go out and pick one. It's got to go through the bidding cycle. And by the way, because it's being by state and federal, so they handled it, not us.
Oh, the state handled that?
I think they did, yes. It wasn't, you got to work through them because state and federal are.
Well, PennDOT is paying most of the tab, so they.
Right.
Well, actually, feds are.
Oh, the feds are?
Yeah.
Okay. But that's a really good question. I would much rather.
I'll ask the engineer, but I know the bids. I don't believe the bids were open in Erie. They were open in probably Harrisburg.
Weren't the bids in the paper? I thought I saw the bids.
They were, I think.
Yeah, I think they were public record.
Are you still there, Matt?
Yeah, once again, we're taking money out of Erie.
Well, you know what?
Out of Erie.
I encourage people to bid, but a lot of times when I'll tell you this, man. When I was on the school board, I was amazed that local companies would not bid on certain projects. And I've seen it here at City Hall where they'll put the bids out, and for whatever reason, they determine they don't want it. I'll give you an example. Cars. We buy cars. You know that, correct?
Right.
We buy police cars. Well, my brother-in-law worked for a company. He said, to be truthful, we can't afford it. We're not in the business of supplying police cars. And unfortunately, somebody else will say, I'm willing to take, and this ain't the true figure, but I'm willing to take $5 extra profit rather, and you need 15. So, that's what happens. A lot of these companies here either don't have the manpower or don't have the ability or just don't want to do it. But when there are building projects, like if different times during the year, you'll see PennDOT does hire local vendors if they're willing to bid on it.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but the process is the lowest responsible bidder.
Lowest responsible.
So that means it's not always the lowest bidder.
Yeah.
No, it has to be.
Responsible is the word where.
To give you an example, if we order a road paved, and this company says they can do it cheaper, but then you find out that
they can't do it.
Their building materials are not up to standard.
Right.
Yeah.
Then no, they don't get the job. Or if they're going to put up this would be silly, but if you want to put up a 30-story building, and they said, yeah, we can do it cheap, and you find out they're doing it with wood, okay, that's not what you had in mind, okay?
Right.
Yeah. It's not that simplistic, but
the lowest responsible bidder.
And
with responsible in quotes.
Well, when you look at the bids, they'll tell you what they want done, and it's laid out that way.
Right.
You still there?
Okay, I just wanted to know that.
Yeah, that's how they do it. I mean, it's not always, we try to encourage local people to get involved. In fact, sometimes what we do when they did the convention center, they put a clause in there that they had to work with the local unions to make sure some of our people got put on a job.
Well, that's good.
And that's what we're trying to do with, council has been trying to work on a thing where we call it I'm trying to think of the exact term, but when we do a project, we want it to be reflective of the community, meaning, we want a representation of our breakdown of our community, both financially, ethnically, in all different ways. And so a lot of times we're going to start putting what they call community benefits in there that say that we're going to do our best effort on any job that you have to hire a certain percentage of local people.
You mean the community benefits agreement?
Yeah.
You guys, have you guys decided on that?
We're working on it. It's a work in progress this is kind of what this woman wants is that, even if you don't win the contract.
Yeah, right.
That, a lot of communities say you got to hire so many local people in there.
Yeah.
And so many minorities to reflect the community.
Which you should.
Commercial made in Erie, made right here is.
Right.
It's the same thing with the festivals. When I see a festival in Erie called Celebrate Erie, I don't want to see a bunch of Pittsburgh vendors. I want to see Erie vendors first.
Well, I've always been against. Look, I'm not against bringing outside people in.
Yeah, but that's.
But I think when Lou Tullio started Erie Days way back, we love Erie Days.
Mm-hmm.
When you walked through the park, what you saw different groups, churches. Different groups that represented the city that were having fundraisers.
Yeah.
You had like the various, like I said, churches, schools, social agencies organizations that did things around the community.
Right.
And it was reflective of our area. And you still had a couple other, out of town, but.
You have to remember that, the Roar on the Shore.
Yeah.
Is not a city-run event.
We have nothing to do with
the city itself has nothing to do with Roar on the Shore.
Right, understood.
So that
and all criticism should be leveled at the Manufacturers Association.
Oh no, I wouldn't.
I don't even think Ralph Pontillo is with them anymore.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You still there? Oop.
Hey, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for calling.
It's unfortunate. Actually, the city is doing some good things. The Redevelopment Authority and the Land Bank.
Yeah.
I mean, they're out there. They're tearing houses down. What they're doing is buying them out of sheriff's sale,
that's what the Land Bank is supposed to work in a positive way.
And it's going to start.
We passed the Land Bank. We didn't have the money. That's a problem.
Well, in the paper today, they were talking about it. City and council. I don't know if you saw it or not, but they did an article today. I haven't read it myself, but I had heard about it. county and city starting to work together. And that's the thing that this administration over here and that and some of the new council people are starting to work together to start bringing the land bank idea together. And I think Kathy Resnick, I can't remember her.
Yeah.
I mean, her being over there and then coming over here is a really good thing. I think there's finally some teamwork going on for the funding and with the approach of what's going on, which is what we need.
We get hammered, John, but the last council was a very productive council. We put a lot of stuff in the hopper that got delayed, okay?
Yeah.
And it's being resurrected once again.
Yeah.
We never let it go. And the land bank was an example. Curtis Jones and I, we went to League of Cities in Lancaster. And we sat in and we were impressed with, on this one class, that what they were doing in cities in the East.
Yeah.
And if you go to like a town like Lancaster, they haven't tore down their old buildings. We were in a tavern eating dinner that was 100 and some years old. I mean, beautiful.
Well, you know, with the new development corporation that Persinger's, they hired him to run it. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Yeah, I saw that.
You know, they've got a lot of money, and the landscape in the downtown is...
Got an awful lot of cost.
How did you get on there?
We didn't even let you back on here. How did you get back on this show?
How did you get back on?
I won't tell you my secrets. I got a two-part question for you. Last week at your council meeting, the mayor came down to discuss the bridge, but I didn't see any city solicitors other than your paid gun. And how come they didn't bring somebody from upstairs and didn't have to pay him $125 an hour? And the part two of that question is, how many hours has this gentleman charged the city for his services up to date?
Oh, man, you know what? I wonder if I left it. I'm going to check my file.
Well,
you want to talk to him?
Not really. Where are we going to go home and check your file?
No, it's right there. It's right outside.
You don't work upstairs anymore. You do know that, right?
Right there in that shelf.
All right, go check that shelf.
I'm going to hey, John,
yes.
To answer your question, when he first proposed what he was going to do, and I voted against it to make it clear,
I understand that.
he said that he intended to come to meetings, so that was factored in.
You know how many hours that...
I think what he decided was he's going to, if I remember right, he's going to work the day meetings, and I think
the night meeting.
Well, I'm trying to think how he came up with a plan that...
You've got 4 solicitors, assistant solicitors upstairs.
He was going to work one a month, and the upstairs was going to work another. This is why I didn't like the plan, okay? So, but I was outvoted, and I have to sit in there and watch and monitor it, but...
How often do you refer to the solicitor in the meeting?
Quite a bit.
Really?
Not during the meeting or during the
meeting?
Not often.
Well, I mean, I would have him in there during
here's the thing, though.
Finance, but...
It is always stressed that at any meeting, okay, any public meeting, you have a solicitor. Because during the meeting, I mean, it's the same with the authorities. They pay for their solicitor by the hour.
I understand why you do, and I understand that you do need it.
And we do use them, but not, I mean, you might use it for procedural matters, or you might want to ask them what's going on with a particular ordinance.
Little Bird told me there's over 60 hours been charged already.
Well, if I have it in there, I have the paper. I'll send you a copy, but John, talk to him a minute. I'll talk to him.
Don't let him go, John.
I think I left it here.
It's a trick. He's not coming back.
I understand that. You know, you were talking about buildings that were being tore down that were historic.
Yeah.
Hammett tore down an old log cabin from way back when, the 1800s.
In the middle of the night.
Middle of the night.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
And they also tore down my old homestead. That was built in 1812.
Yeah, Hammett has been a blessing and a curse when it comes to...
You know, you talk about that. What are they going to propose to Mr. Black that owns the old Dickinson Tavern when they need their new buildings and their new expansion down there?
Yeah, right. I mean, that is... for them to tear that down, they would have to I mean, obviously, that has to go through council now. So I don't know what they're going to do. I know they're building that other parking lot down there, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, is there's going to be a super parking lot, and they're going to build another addition down there. And I think it's supposed to be for women or whatever.
I'd rather have them building up than spreading out down on that particular area.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem. You know, they got to go up. They got to change those rules. And, you know, people say they can't see the lake or the bay. Well,
you can't see it anyway. The buildings down, plus there's really no houses down there, that you can't see from. I mean, that property down there, that's our most taxable property, and we have to stop putting non-taxable entities on that particular property. We have to start limiting Gannon. They need to go up, not out, because we need taxable property in this city, and that's...
You know, you were talking about a bridge, or Kaz was talking about a bridge between Downing Avenue over there.
Yeah.
You run into a liquor problem over there. I'm not talking about liquor, booze per se. I'm talking about the old hammer mill dump sites.
Oh, really?
And the old Kaiser aluminum dump site. You come into 55-gallon drums of all kinds of waste oil and everything else.
I mean, God only knows all what's underground over there.
Go by there, you see all kinds of ventilations in the ground.
Hey, John, I apologize. I will, if you call me at home, I took it home after the last meeting, so I got the numbers on there.
Oh, I got an inside down there, so.
Oh, that's okay, but.
He knows more than we do.
Hey, I said all along, if he exceeds what he promised us, then there's going to be.
Then the rest is non grata.
I mean, we get jumped on, but fathom this: we had less budgeted for legal problems than Mill Creek did.
True.
And everybody goes, "Oh my God, you spent $100-some thousand." That is peanuts with the amount of. If you think, like John was asking me a question here, this is John. Any councilman has been free to walk up to that office and ask about issues. Now, if you do that with a real lawyer, the clock is ticking. You know, this is why I don't think it's beneficial to a city because, you know, I should be able to pick up the phone and call them without having to worry about the clock running.
True.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was the advantage when we had a legal department.
Well, that's like when on council, I hate when somebody comes up so they want to waive the rest of the agenda. The agenda should not be taken into the back room. The agenda should be taken out into the front room.
It's not, John. When you come to the meeting, we have sheets that are available with the agenda on there.
Oh, I can see it on the computer.
Plus it's posted for procedural matters and to speed up the meeting instead of going through each issue. And many of them, when you get to that section of the meeting, are
true. But when you go into big contracts and buying equipment for first responders in the back room, it should be taken out to the front room where the people want to talk about it. They can talk about it.
Well, unfortunately, as you know, John, but a lot of people don't. By the time they're sitting on at this table, all the decisions have already been made.
True.
But I mean, a lot of that stuff is. Let me put you this way:
well,
by the time
a lot of that stuff is just.
Well, by the time a contract even comes to council, and I can tell you this out of experience, if the system works like it's supposed to, and I will say it did when I was controller, okay, and I know the present controller does it, and the previous controller before me did it. I can't go back to the 60s. I don't know, way back there, but a contract comes in. It goes through our the person that takes the bids and all that looks at them. It's analyzed by our legal department. The administration has a look at it in the finance department. Then it comes to the controller for his or her okay, and that's where, I used to ask a lot of questions. And then when the controller puts it on the list as recommended for payment, that means that it's gone through the whole process. Now, at that point, any councilman can question it, or any member of the public. And it is posted on the Internet, and it's available down here. So pretty much by the time it comes up to the meeting, it's been vetted. And don't forget, you have a liaison that for every department that meets with them, and is free to ask them any question, which I do, like, what are you using this for, and what, And when they do an emergency purchase, they have to call you. And, before it goes, plus the agenda meeting, it has to be put on the agenda properly. So it's been vetted. Nobody's hiding it. It's just that when you get a meeting, if you had to go through we're not Mill Creek, and we're not Wesleyville. We got quite a few things any day. So procedurally, rather than voting each one independently, they waive the rules. They waive the agenda.
That's true, but it almost sounds like a lick 'em and stick 'em deal.
Well, it may look that way, and we had one council person recently that wanted to vote on every one, with the electronic tabulator.
Well,
and you see what happened. Try to understand any meeting. Try to look at Harrisburg or Washington.
well, that there is to keep it in order because you vote the same order all the time. And
Well,
this
I'm
is so
not
good.
for that, John. But nobody's going to change that thing.
I know it's ridiculous, but what are you going to do?
I keep moving up the ladder every time, but
That's true.
We got
Okay,
two-
have a good day.
We got 2 A's and a K.
when I was on the city school board,
Yeah.
they rotated it.
Yeah.
And you come up there to meeting, you go, I got the bad meeting be first. You gotta you can't sit back there and duck now. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, you got to get a clock again because I've been waiting for about 40 minutes there on the phone trying to call in.
We had some dead time.
Yeah, there was some
I'm
dead
sorry,
time,
Doc.
But anyway, hey, that building that you're talking about near the viaduct,
Yeah, the Dresden War Museum.
right? Is it? I can't see it, but is it viable to maybe have somebody paint a wall mirror like on there with the?
Well, the wall is not the question. It's the roof.
And actually, the walls are falling off.
Well, yeah, but the roof is the real issue.
It's a rusted metal frame right now.
Some of the pieces are blown out onto the highway, actually.
Okay.
Bricks are falling.
Yeah, it's on the backside. It's terrible.
It's a disaster.
Near the viaduct side, it's really a mess.
Yeah.
The businesses there have to clean up the glass that's been popped out by kids on the bridge that are throwing rocks at it.
It's gotten so bad that they've had to put police tape around there just to keep people away from it.
Yeah, it's at this juncture, Richard, I don't know. Like I said earlier in the show, I'm not in a position to answer what kind of shape it's in. To me, as a regular civilian, it looks like the only redemptive quality would be a ball of steel going through it, but
That's about it.
but I don't know,
Three actual buildings there, or 4?
To save face, could maybe
3, I
the city,
think.
with the help of some of these high school students that are good in artwork, or have that fellow that used to paint the bridges, the railroad.
Oh God, you'd have a liability issue.
Yeah, it's not.
Well, we thought the paint on the side here.
Yeah.
Welcome to Erie, the Pennsylvania flagship city, and so it's kind of a welcoming site. Maybe the flagship on there, and so
Well, there is one on the other side. There's a picture of Commodore Perry on the other building, I think, right, Sean?
Logistics Plus.
Huh?
Logistics Plus put a big mural.
Logistics Plus is that building? Yeah, that one looks nice, but unless you're going to fix the roof on this building first.
If you get some group that would be willing to do that, at least block off the eyesight for a while until you can get something done with it.
I'm going to propose that, Mayor Schemberday looks at that building and come up with a plan, but it's nothing he doesn't know about. He's heard about it. That thing's been going on since.
Well, that's just it. It's been going on too long.
I wonder how much demolition of that building would actually cost.
As I said earlier, the problem is I don't know the gentleman's financial situation, but apparently he's not in good shape, or either that or he doesn't want to do it. They've been hesitant to push him too hard because this is what I've been told, and they said it publicly over the media that he has people working in that building on the one end. So,
how can that possibly pass code to allow people to actually work in there when the building is literally falling over onto the street?
That's a good question.
Well, like I said, there's at least 3 buildings. The one building seems to have a couple of parts to it. The one is just a frame. There's nothing left of that building but rusted metal. The southernmost building is the one that just got the roof put on it, is being used. They rent it out to people who, like, for $80 a month or $100 a month, you can rent a space and do storage, or some people work on cars in there. So they're using that for a rental property. The one in the middle is a bulky frame that's not worth retrieving, and the furthest to the north is the one where they have people working in it. So you have 2 that are semi able to be used, and one it's in the middle of the two, so it's going to be very difficult to take it.
The problem
down
is
without-
once the,
We need to send the code guys over there.
Yeah.
well, they've been there. They've been there.
I'm sure they have been.
They've been there. In fact, they've been on TV.
I've been
Openly
inside.
discussing he's been cited by the district justice.
The one with the
People-
roof is just as bad because it was 30 years of weathering inside the frame and everything is already shot. They just put a roof on top of it. That building's still not 100%.
If anything, it's a museum about what happened to Erie and its manufacturing past.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that the code enforcement guys, they've taken their approach. You've had the district justice, so we've tried to take it criminally and legal approach, and none of those approaches work.
No, you got to remember now. You got a new administration. I don't know where they're coming from.
But
yet.
the thing, correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't eminent domain laws state? They're state, right? Or can we? Does the city? Can the city?
Good question.
I would say that if the city
But
puts them
eminent
in,
domain, John, is, if I understand eminent domain.
Hey, I'm going to get off.
Okay.
Somebody else call, but is DJ doing it?
Yeah.
No, it's an illusion.
Yeah, they kicked him out of Colorado.
If that was him talking about the Rainbow Bridge, I think the Colorado air is getting too thin for him.
No, I think he's smoking that rope product.
Looking at stuff, but he's been probably playing with the grizzly bears a little bit.
I heard he likes Denver Dandy. That's a good blend.
Denver Candy.
I do not know what that term is.
It's the Mile High City. It's not called the Mile High City for nothing.
Yeah.
See you, Richard.
All right, bye now.
I think eminent domain, though, in its truest form would be you can take somebody's property for the good of the community. Now, we don't have a plan to use it, okay? If we were going to say, hypothetically, build a park there, or we needed to build a road or something like that,
That would be different.
that comes into it. Like, when eminent domain hits in, it's like, okay, you're building a highway or you're building the hospital is expanding in the community and it meets a community need.
Yeah.
Right.
That's when they can kick that in, but
Right.
that doesn't mean you go in there and take it automatically.
Yeah.
What would happen? Let's say if the city passed a new ordinance saying we can do it a little easier, then they would have attorneys saying, okay, well, we're going to challenge it statewide. And then the next thing you know, you're just in court for over and over.
Well, that's the trouble. I mean, this is a tricky situation, and previous administrations have taken different approaches. And to be fair to the Schember administration, I don't know what he's,
Yeah.
I'm sure I know he knows about it. I mean, anybody that drives around town knows about it. But getting back to PennDOT, you'll love this. They came back and they said, after we were talking about how successful the Bayfront Highway was, and they want to get traffic back on 12th Street. I said, aren't you the same guys in conjunction with a local study outfit that shrunk 12th Street down? You remember that?
Let's have some.
You put those striped lanes in there that you can't use anymore, and you put the fancy bump outs on 12th
Yeah.
Street.
Yeah.
I said, so now you want people to use it again. I said, meanwhile, they can see the highway a few hundred yards outside their headquarters, Hammond and Erie Insurance, and you want them to go up French Street where you now put the buses on.
Yeah.
Another great blunder. So now you cut that street down. You got parking on that street, necessary parking for the businesses. The Warner Theater blocks it when you're loading up equipment. I said, so looking at it from my perspective, I want to get home. Am I going to go the least course of resistance, or am I going to go up French Street, then get on 12th Street, which is now archaic, because all the feel-good people decided they wanted to slow the traffic down and cut it down. I said, no, so which plan are we using?
You called it a couple of years ago and you said, yep, we're getting these new bump outs. They're going to be gone in a couple of years. It goes through cycles.
Well, yeah, I've been around too long. When I was a kid, we had train tracks on the south side of 12th Street.
I got news for you. Those bump outs aren't going anywhere. Because if we take those bump outs out, we got
The
to.
Commonwealth. Hey, wait, John. The Commonwealth's the one bringing this up. It wasn't me. It was at a meeting, okay? So I said, you guys are going to, what are you going to do now? Tear out the bump outs?
Wait a minute.
They didn't say they were. They just
can't.
said.
They cannot.
Why?
Because they have to pay the money back that they got on the grant. If they tear them out, we've got to pay the money
but
back.
if it's the group that gave the Commonwealth.
It was from the, not Broad Street program. It's the Elm Street program.
Whatever man creates, man can uncreate. Okay, you're talking about the agency that gave you the money, the Commonwealth and the feds, right? So now they're saying, geez, we might have made a mistake. Now we want traffic on 12th Street. And I'm going, wait a minute. You know, when I was a kid, they took the tracks out on 12th Street. They took out the coal yard. That's where Erie Times News is. Renovated all of 12th Street, opened it up wide, ripped the tracks out, because all those businesses on the south side were serviced by trains. The track, you know, you had what they call a spur route. I can't remember was it Bessemer service, those companies like with coal and supplies. You know, businesses would get that way. So now we opened it up. People flew across town. Yeah, they went to work at GE, went to work the other direction. Wow, everything was working good. Then we go, I think we're gonna shrink it again. Because in the old days, they also tore out 11th Street to build all these parking lots for the businesses that were there that are not there anymore. So then here we go, back and forth. State Street. I was a little kid. They had these islands on there.
Yeah.
You got to look back, right?
Well,
Took them out and opened it up.
Gig,
Looked nice, and then they go, oh, now we got a street where, you know.
Nobody drives up and down.
But then they put the mall in there, Transitway Mall, and they cut it down. Then we reopened it again.
Yeah.
And now we closed it again. I'm figuring, let's see, somewhere. If I live according to how long they say, I might see 2 more transitions.
Well, you know, isn't the whole aspect of, I know that lady.
That's my mother.
I know. Got to get her on here sometime.
Everybody knows.
But you know, the whole thing is we're supposed to slow down traffic, not, you know, and all they've just done is just created more of a disaster.
Right. Go ahead, caller. Hello?
Change Perry Square back or either change the parking situation.
You mean change the direction?
It's all backwards.
No, actually, you know, ma'am, I got to disagree on this one. I think the direction is okay because the way you have the streets laid out, it never made sense in the old days to, like if I wanted to go up French Street, I had to go around the park.
Yeah.
You know, the direction is okay. I agree with you on the parking though. I don't like the parking, the backing in like that. That I agree with you on.
I hate that.
That I will agree with you on, ma'am.
Yeah, I mean, just make it regular parking.
If I had my choice, you could have angled parking.
Yeah.
Do it the way it's intended to.
Yeah, but
No, straight in, but.
Yeah, but I can't even do that right.
But you want the direction change, ma'am? Oh, she must be off. I don't know about the.
I think it makes sense now. You're right, because French Street, let's say French Street goes this way, and Peach.
Well, in
goes
the old
this
days,
way.
if you wanted to go down Peach Street,
Yeah.
you had to come down. You went right on South Park Row.
Okay.
Then you had to go to State Street. Then you made a left on North Park Row and a right on Peach Street. Same thing coming back to go up Front Street.
Yeah.
It was really a mess.
Very
okay?
complicated.
So,
The way it is now, it makes sense because you just go 1 block more and then you're.
although you'll love this one. Picture this now. You come up Peach Street and you're at where the statue is. Between North and South Park Road, there's a traffic light.
Right.
Courthouse is to your left. Okay, you're going to make a left-hand turn. Mm-hmm. You're heading south now. No, you're heading north on Peach Street. This is in the old days.
Yeah.
And then you're going to make a left-hand turn and head west on 6th Street in front of the courthouse.
Right.
They had 2 turning arrows.
Mm.
I used to sit there as a kid and I go, you know, a young man, first married, and I go, now how's this going to work out? The inside lane was okay, but the outside lane ran right into the back of parked cars. Am I right? So I went to Was Smoker, who was the Mocha at the time, was a city engineer, and I said, Was, why would you have 2 left-hand turn lanes? When you do that, only the one lane goes straight, the other one's in the back of the parked cars. Oh. So they took out, you know, I go, this is typical of what happens, you know. But, hey, I guess we just got the...
Hey, we
just got the...
How long are you going to be in town?
A couple days.
Well, we won't see you next week then.
No, I'll probably be going back Thursday. Got to get back to my rainbow bridges and stuff.
Hey, just for, how many boroughs you got?
2 days. I haven't even really gotten...
Does he have any burros? Like, does he ride around to the mine on burros? Got a pickaxe or anything? You sing down in the silver mine by Diesel? I'm going to send it to you.
I like that hat, though.
I bought this on my first trip to Colorado, so now this is my new adventure hat.
Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah.
He's going walkabout.
Whoa.
Last caller, go ahead.
Just want to know, DJ, did that book help you any about Erie?
It's very interesting. He gave me a book with all these really cool old photographs of what Erie used to look like.
Well, that's a good book.
It is a very cool
Probably the
book.
one I got.
Thank you very much for that.
Hey, I'm going to send you guys, there's a good website that our friend John the Buckle On Man has.
Yeah.
There's a guy in town that has some beautiful pictures that haven't been published.
Yeah.
It'll open up your eyes about,
Oh, yeah.
some of the movie theaters, some of the downtown areas, some of the other areas around the area that even has some internal pictures inside of,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, definitely.
a good website. It's a shame that a lot of stuff I wish I had taken pictures of when I was a kid before they took it down. But
Yep.
hey, see ya.
Thanks for calling, Doc.
Hey,
Thanks for
Cass,
having me on.
my friend, good to see you again. I'm glad you didn't text me today.
I'll be texting you some random weird
I'm
stuff.
sure,
from now
I'm sure you will. But Cass, thanks for having us, and next week maybe, right? We'll see.
Yep. And do we have to sing Happy Trails?
No.
Happy trails? No.
I'm going to get you a new theme song. I'm going to find you some free, good.
I had
music
some
to open up with.
good suggestions, but
All right, we'll take it. I bet, but you got to check with Mike first.
It's going to go.
That's like a filler. That song is like.
warning.
No.
Warning to Mike. Do not worry about ASCAP, Mike.
Kaz has got his ESPN phone going off, so
All right.
he's got to call Mel Kiper, so we're going to have to sign off the air right now.
I'm doing the draft analysis.
He is. He's doing draft analysis on the Browns. Just to sum it up, they'll blow it. Hit the music, will you, Mike? Please, I got to get out of here.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Taxpayers Hotline Show on Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9.